trainers, and welcome back to Unite Rewind, where I recap the most recent action in Pokemon Unite EU Esports. And in this episode, we cover all of Week 2 of UCS Regional Leagues and give you an update on the last hit league by Komai and Crowd Control. So with so much to cover for the UCS League, let's get stuck in. We kick it off with the off-stream games, and day one sees Team Peps looking to catch up to BH3 in their standings, and Avalanche desperate for their first win here. Team Peps comes out the gate sprinting, getting power spikes before anyone except their central laner for Avalanche. Zante gets a crazy steal on the Regidrago as the rest of the team is scoring points. And Avalanche do find some great KOs at the 7-minute mark and score their first points to get back into the game. Team Peps extend their level lead though, with only Oni managing to keep up for Avalanche. Bruv has a monster game on Blastoise here and completely controls the front line for Peps. Avalanche can't handle the crowd control when it's paired with Marv's Umbreon. A push before 2 minutes sees Avalanche cut the score difference down to less than 100 between them, and Avalanche have caught up on most levels. Both teams fight over a Reggie just as Groudon hits the field, and Avalanche start winning the team fight, taking down Ceruledge, but Bruv has a massive Hydro Typhoon onto 4 of Avalanche, and they have to retreat. Peps have their foothold on the Groudon pit and just defend the second fight. Bruv yet again separates Mewtwo Y from Eldegoss as the rest of their team rips the objective and they take game 1. Great effort from Avalanche in this one though. Game 2 now, when Avalanche are attempting a heavy crowd control comp. Team Peps have a brilliant early game comp though, especially with Bruv picking Flail's Snorlax. Gain a strong looking game from Avalanche until the 5-minute mark, where they are baited onto the T1 of Peps, and Klaus gets a humongous Revenant Rendoff onto 4 of Avalanche, with Potato backing him up on Zash and Metal Claw. Suddenly, Peps have aced Avalanche and they build a level lead. Avalanche still have the point lead though, and they look for experience to catch up with the levels. Peps try to stretch Avalanche by pushing both lanes though, and Avalanche end up having to use Darkrai's worst nightmare and Espeon's sidekick Solaire at the 250 mark. Peps take the point lead and have better Unite economy in the final fight. Bruv puts an incredible session in again in this fight and shuts down the Espeon secure from Avalanche, and then rushes into the pit to secure the objective off the back of a Sovereign Sword from Potato. Team Peps wins the set with a 2-0 record, and Avalanche are left on the precipice of being able to take a win. Next up is BH3 Esports looking to remain undefeated as Jaime Poulet look for their first set win. BH3 pull out our Dragonite and Lucario combo, and as expected, when BH3 play, they dominate this game. The double secure of Dragonite and Miraidon ensure they lock in all the objectives, and Jaime Poulet have a late game comp but struggle to find KOs on BH3, who just rip the objective once it spawns in. Utao and Megu stop Jaime Poulet getting close to the objective, and they can only score 4 points for the entirety of this game. BH3 take game 1. Game 2 sees some Serena action here for BH3. Much better early game from Jaime Poulet as well, who managed to get quick power spikes and take a lead. Sazaro's Hooper portals were perfect in this game, making it impossible for Jaime Poulet to get KOs at times. By the mid game though, BH3 are back in control with their Pokemon online and each team fight now going their way. In a matter of 2 minutes, BH3 have tripled the lead over Jaime Poulet and take a level lead. At 4 minutes left, JLP have a solid bottom lane fight. Rezu has an incredible Phantom Forest on 4 of JLP though to stop them pushing the pad, but eventually Jaime Poulet find a few KOs and cut down that score lead. Megu is incredible in the final fight, and Jaime Poulet have to throw everything at them, and it takes over a minute to take them down. Jaime Poulet managed to get the Groudon, but BH3 are over 300 points in the lead and just go counter score with there being 20 seconds left in the game. BH3 continue their unbroken streak and win the set with a 2-0 record. We move on to Komai Esports, looking for the chance to have an opportunity of taking Team Peps on for second place. To do that though, they have to get through Los Caducados, who are looking to bounce back big time this week. A very aggressive early comp from Los Caducados with Talonflame, Rapidash and Mimikyu, which allows them good control of the lanes early on. This game ends up being very close throughout, with both teams taking the lead multiple times and each keeping up with levels on each other. Gatlu is a menace on Mega Lucario in this game though, and Los Caducados have to use so many resources to take him down. It takes up to 3 minutes left for one team to score more than 100 points in this game. Los Caducados attempts to keep Komai out of the Groudon pit, and Gatlu goes Mega, and Gek drops the Rubble Rouser to take all the damage. Komai find 2 KOs, forcing Los Caducados to retreat, but they come back big time and take all the carries from Komai to take the Groudon with 20 seconds left whilst they're already in the lead. Los Caducados takes game 1. Komai gives Toast the Talonflame this time, which eventually becomes Los Caducados' downfall. Komai has a better early game, finding power spikes quickly and scoring plenty of stacks, seeing Toast rotating quickly and alleviating pressure in both lanes. Los Caducados won't take it laying down though. They do manage to find important KOs and score, but each time they do, Komai bounces back. It's almost like Los Caducados spend a bit too long in fights without getting much out of it here. And coming into the final fight, Komai are 2 grouped up and ready for Los Caducados. Toast has perfect target selection as they KO Mewtwo Y and Psyduck. Komai take the Groudon and take game 2. As if to prove how close this league truly is for EU, we go to a Game 3. Game 3 sees Komai take Los Caducados Game 1 strat of Double Speedster. Toast back on that Talonflame after dominating the previous game, and Adesu is on Rapidash. Again, another close game between both teams. Whenever one gets an advantage, the other one bounces back with a great team fight. Toast picks up where he left off though, as Komai use their front line to pull the attention of Los Caducados whilst he gets the flank KOs, and Gatlu secures the objectives. The 4:30 mark sees Komai flip the game in their favour with an ace whilst they lock in Regirock. Komai get a 3rd Regirock buff just before the final stretch, which is pivotal as Gek pulls all the attention of Los Caducados after they find a KO on Gatlu. And in the blink of an eye, Los Caducados has to reset. Komai don't want to rip and wait patiently until they spot a back cap. Toast attempts their own but gets cut off 30 seconds left, and the back cap attempt have split up both teams. Narami holds the attention of Los Caducados in the top lane, and Komai win the game and the set with a 2-1 record, but a brilliant showing from Los Caducados, showing they have the capability of taking on the top dogs in this league. Day 2 now for the off-screen games, and we see BH3 fighting for their undefeated streak once again against Volticons, who are looking to take their 4th place. Slightly better early game for BH3 in this one, as they try to ensure Volticons don't get any chance to breathe. Volticons wisely move to a counter-laning strategy, which would have worked if it wasn't for Megu, who secures the top objective and stops Volticons getting important KOs with X-Scissor on Crustle. BH3 does a brilliant job of utilizing Sazero on the Umbreon to mean look Tibby on that Mega Gyarados, and it makes for a tough team fight for Volticons. BH3 dominate the rest of the game and come into the final fight with over a 300 point lead, and they get a Regieleki as well. BH3 stay patient at the Groudon fight, looking to defend their T1s, but once Volticons notice this, they go for the fight and the Groudon, actually managing to get it with a brilliant secure by Tibby's Dragon Current. With seconds left in the game though, BH3 goes straight for a counter score, and this one comes right down to the wire, but BH3 managed to pull it off to take the first game. Game 2, and Volticons means business in this one, playing very aggressively, giving themselves a decent level lead in the early stages. But BH3 don't have much difficulty catching up in these levels. Volticons have Snow on Talonflame, which allows them to secure objectives in this game as they try to continue to extend their point lead. BH3 has been creeping back into this though, and you can feel it's going to come down to that final fight. Volticons do so well in the team fights during this game though. Tibby is yet again a huge standout on the Mega Gyarados. Groudon comes in and Volticons have managed to keep the lead. The first team fight sees only Serena fall for BH3 and both teams reset to go again. BH3 go for a huge rip, and the Hooper Unite move is massive for stuns in this fight as BH3 managed to secure the objective and score again with 20 seconds left. Volticons pushed BH3, but they hold on to take the set with a 2-0 record and remain undefeated in 6 games. Another midfield battle off now, and Komai are looking to win this set to keep second place in reach, as INGAGE are looking to bounce back after a tough defeat. Komai go for their strong front line with a rapidash for harass. Hiyori, however, is on the cypher here and has an incredible game, hitting their unite before the 7-minute mark. Great back and forth in this one, as INGAGE managed to give themselves a small point lead as they take the first red Jalecki on the back of a brilliant green illusion dive. At the mid game, Komai finds a couple of KOs and manages to even out the game in points before they take the objective. You can feel that Komai now has their Pokemon online. Greg has a team fight saving Hooper portal just as the 2 minutes hit. The final battle is back and forth with multiple fights breaking out across both lanes. Amifa lines up a brilliant beam for an objective secure, but Komai get to it milliseconds before they can and secure the objective. Komai takes game 1, but they had to work for it. Game 2 now, and what a pleasure we have with Toast back on Talonflame for Komai. INGAGE ensure this is another very close game though. Komai start their tactic of stretching both lanes, but INGAGE have Hooper, and they're able to defend their lanes for majority of the game, forcing Komai to aim to break the pads. Final stretch comes, and we have 30 points between these two teams, but Hiyori gets caught trying to go for the bottom Regirock, and the entirety of Komai is there. They manage to take the Regirock just before Groudon shows. Teams just brawl it out to begin with. Backcaps are tried and Toast extends Komai's lead. Gek and Narami hold INGAGE to their central area. Mahusive Revenant Rend by Hiyori here picks up a huge KO on Toast, but again, the Crustle Umbreon duo is too much, and Komai respond with cleaning up INGAGE and win the game to take the set with a 2-0 record. The final off-stream game of the week now, and it's Los Caducados looking to overtake Volticons standings, and Jaime Poulet are still looking for their first set win. Los Caducados have come to play this week though with a top-tier comp, while Jaime Poulet try the Greninja and Scissor combo. Trick Room works brilliantly in this game to change the team fights and ensure that Los Caducados has the advantage. They take a clear lead in this game in points and levels, being able to secure the objectives thanks to Jose's Talonflame. Los Caducados keep the pressure on in every area of the game here. Jaime Poulet try and counter lane, but get some points in, but they only manage 33 points until the late game. Good push from Scissor at the 330 mark for Jaime Poulet allows them to cut the score lead by half before Groudon. Trick Room is never off cooldown here, and it sets up a brilliant position for Crustle to lock down Jaime Poulet, for Miraidon to rip them with the enhanced charge beam. Los Caducados take the objective and very comfortably take game 1. Game 2 now, and Los Caducados stick with the exact same comp style, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jaime Poulet have double range with Scizor Umbreon frontline, and Bertolo absolutely cooks on the Inteleon in this game for Los Caducados, landing majority of their snipe shots. Jaime Poulet have managed to take the lead in the game by the midpoint and are winning the teamfights well off the back of the Scizor play. This is a much better form from Jaime Poulet, but Los Caducados go Pac-Man mode to win the level battle back. Counter lane scoring finally gives Los Caducados the point lead and level lead 1 minute before final stretch. Groudon arrives and it's 30 points between them, but Jaime Poulet take everyone down out of Los Caducados except for Bertilo, who lands a perfect snipe shot to KO Cinderace and stop the rip capability from Jaime Poulet. Los Caducados regroup and take the final objective to clean up the game. Los Caducados win the set with a 2-0 record. Now moving over to a quick overview of the on-stream games here, and day 1 sees BH3 looking to defend their undefeated title again versus INGAGE. Utah and Megu domination yet again for BH3 in this set. Fighting is intense, but knockouts are far and few between in this game. We don't get our first KO until the 5:36 mark in the first game. We come into the final fight of game 1 with BH3 having a decent point lead and level lead. BH3 have incredible control of the map throughout this entire game, and it's clear to see why they haven't lost a set yet. Game 2 sees INGAGE play much better, but still completely unable to handle Utah and struggle to capitalize on big engages. Final fight in game 2 sees Mimikyu isolated and KO'd before anyone else, and this just leads to BH3 turning on INGAGE, boxing them out and securing the objective. BH3 wins the set 2-0. Next up is Team Peps, looking to keep hold of second place against Volticons here. Peps are extremely aggressive in this set, playing for objectives and securing most of them. Defenders have a highlight in this set. Marv and Bruv are so incredibly good at buying Peps space, and Bruv runs the max crit flail axe. Game 1 sees Volticons unable to catch up with points or levels and struggle in the team fights. Volticons do manage to get Hundo Burgers in, but Peps counter-score just in time. Much better game in game 2 for Volticons, being able to take the lead in levels and points and take more control of the map, winning these team fights. The final fight just doesn't go their way though, and a brilliant secure and unite move from Bruv on Crustle ensures their victory. Team Peps wins the set 2-0. Los Caducados look to jump over Volticons and INGAGE's records here versus Avalanche, who are still looking for their first win. Early game is a breeze for Los Caducados in this one. Jurare is on their favorite Trevenant, and they just dominate in their lane. Avalanche struggle to find their power spikes, and Los Caducados punish them by counter laning. Game 1's final fight sees Jose land insane snipe shots, and Avalanche full sends onto them, but Mega Luca cleans up. Game 2 is night and day, as Spraggles and Doob say they managed to hold their own and have a lead for most of the game. Just a few missed moments sees Los Caducados get back into the game though, a conserved final fight and both teams go for back caps, but with mere seconds left, Los Caducados score enough to win the set with a 2-0 record, but boy was that a close one. Jaime Poulet look to dig deep for their first win as well in the next one, as Volticons attempt to keep up with Los Caducados and Komai. Very close set here between both. Game 1 was right to the wire, points and level wise, until Snow does Snow things on Cypher and gets a penta to catapult Volticons into the lead. Volticons gets an ace in the final fight off the back of Snow's Cypher and Leon's perfect targeting onto Greninja. Game 2 is very similar, as Jaime Poulet keep it close, but team fights are all in Volticon's favour. It was all about the final objective though, and Jaime Poulet have a huge final fight to take game 2. Final game though, and it's domination from Volticons. Jaime Poulet only able to score 2 points before the 3-minute mark. Volticons go for a rip and force the objective for themselves. Volticons wins the set 2-1. Now, it's the set of the weekend, as Komai look to jump into second place if they beat Team Peps in this one. This set determines that positioning, and Komai are so clean during this entire set. It seems to be the best they have ever played in this league. Gatlu has a super strong set on Mega Lucario, but Gek is the setup monster on their defenders. Couple of team wipes and Komai clean up game 1. Peps by no means are a walkthrough though. Game 2 sees Peps get a much better game in, being able to win the team fights despite Komai's insane crowd control. Komai managed to find the lead into the final fight though, and Narami's Hooper and Gek's Crustle combo is too good for Komai. Team Peps just can't find the KOs before they are taken down, and Peps surrender the game. Komai wins the set 2-0 and take the second place position. Last chance for Avalanche to get a win under their belt this week here, as INGAGE were looking to bounce back into the winning state and play very aggressive. Avalanche struggle against Volto's Blastoise and Hiyori's Cypher. INGAGE chain their Unite moves perfectly with target selection in game 1 to win the final fight and take the game. Game 2 sees INGAGE dominate Avalanche, who were unable to score more than 9 points. Oni is a saving grace for Avalanche, managing to stay in the game with the levels, but in the final fight, they are 309 points behind INGAGE. Avalanche just doesn't show up for the final fight, going back to defend a home base Regieleki, and INGAGE ripped the objective to win the set with a 2-0 record. That's it for the UCS League until the end of February now, as EUIC is up next week. Looking elsewhere in EU though, Last Hit League, hosted by Crowd Control and powered by Komai Esports, continues its games. And I strongly recommend anyone who's interested in beginner and mid-tier esports to go check it out. Some great experiences are being had in that league, and they could be the next pros that you're watching on the big stage. Games are covered each Friday and Saturday over on Komai Esports and Crowd Control's Twitch channels. Top 4 qualify for the playoffs, so it's all to play for in the upcoming weeks. Make sure to check out the action each Friday and Saturday. And finally, that's all for this week. This weekend we have round 4 of the EUL Masters by Unity Clash, as well as the mid-season playoffs. Tune in and let me know what you think in the comments below about this year's Pokemon Unite Esports action so far. As always, hit that sub button to make sure you're kept up to date with all the Pokemon Unite action for EU. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, trainers, and I'll see you on the next one.